Well, welcome everyone to Two Qs with Lisa Ward. I am your host, and today we have Miss Ashley. So, Ashley, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning. My name's Ashley Parrish. I am a licensed clinical social worker, but I just transitioned to women's coaching. And in my field, that is not like the most exciting thing for my peers to hear. I think it's confused a lot of people, and we'll get into it more probably with the two questions. But I transitioned into coaching because I want to be more involved with my women. I serve women, I'm a women's coach. And building a community is really where my passion is, and just helping women step into their authentic self and peel back the layers that have prevented them from showing up, with familial and societal and media and school and all of the stuff we just get put on us. We end up playing small and operating in a safe capacity. Well, that keeps us small and not living our authentic truth and stepping into our power. And so what I do with women is I figure out what's showing up in your life, because our subconscious rules our reality. And then I'm able to help them identify limiting beliefs that's keeping them small, rewire them, and then that's how you manifest, or, for lack of a better, call in or step into your desired life, is rewiring our subconscious, because we can only call in the level of our worthy and deservingness. So if we don't think we're worthy, then we have a life that proves that, right? And so when we peel back the layers and step into our power, our level of deservingness rise. Therefore, our lifestyle and the desires that we want come into fruition. And so that is my life's passion. I have had to peel back so many layers. And so that's also why I do the work that I do, because I had to do it all on myself. And so that's me.
That's fantastic. And we can talk about the subconscious and like self-talk. It's so
Yes.
bad. So
It,
bad.
yeah.
We teach
And
it to kids, yet we don't, as adults,
hopefully.
do it properly.
Hmm.
So yeah, but we could get into
Well,
that.
yeah, I could talk about that all day. So if anybody wants to call me.
That's awesome. Well, I ask everyone the same two questions, and your
Okay.
first one is, what do you want that you don't already have?
I want a community of women that shows up in complete support of each other while we're navigating our own programming and peeling back our own layers. So, like a level of vulnerability, camaraderie, cheerleading, safe space to grow and evolve. Growing, and when you're stretchy and you're doing the inner work, people can get really like hermity and tend to do it on their own. Um, I don't know about you, but a belief that I had when I was a kid was, I'm the only one going through this. This is so
Yeah.
scary. I'm the only one that feels this way, and you're not. So many things that we go through, either we're all going through it collectively or we've been through it. And so, with my work, and I see one-on-one clients, and I'm working on building the community. So, hosting really sacred events, having a safe container for people to share and stretch and grow in a place that is not competitive, judgy, um, you name it. Because a lot of times we feel like we're different, but we've been in the wrong room. And so my goal is to create the room that people are like, oh my gosh, I'm seen for the first time. I feel comfortable. I feel included. I feel like I can be my true, authentic self and not be judged. And so that's what I want, is to be able to provide that container for people to finally feel like they're in the right room.
No, I love the visualization of the right room. I mean, having worked with many young people, and I think just generationally, we've been taught that, okay, you figure out what your career path is. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you go get a degree in that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get out in the real world, you're like, you just kidding. I don't actually want to do that for a living.
Psych.
But that's what I was supposed to do. So some people might feel stuck and not pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, I mean, no, I can't even say the word.
Generationally.
Yeah, there we go. Um, we're like, man, whatever. I'm just gonna go try something else. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's a little scary.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think I'm a great example of, I have a theater degree. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that I was actually going to be doing what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
Does it
yeah,
light
that
you
rang
up?
true to me.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
was just in the wrong room.
I have been in the wrong room, wrong friends that aren't cheerleading me, wrong environments, wrong space. And you climb so hard, you doggy paddle to get there, and then you're there and you're like, why do I still not feel seen? Why do I still not feel lit up? And I'm a passion person. So when my flame dims and gets low, it's not cute.
Hmm.
And so I've had to really pivot, and I teach women how to pivot and set boundaries and show up for themselves. I'm going to speak for myself, but I feel like you might relate. I feel like as women, we are taught from a young age to give our power away, give our energy away, do all of these things and pour into everybody else. And then we grow up, you wake up and you're 35 years old and you don't even know what you like to do for fun. My clients, I'm like, okay, so what do we like to do? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, all right. That's where we're
I
going to
take the
figure that
kids to
out.
soccer practice. I'm the
Yes.
PTA mom. I do the things
Like,
for other
you
people.
don't like that. No one
Yeah.
likes that. Like, do I like to go to soccer practice and walk the field? Yeah, because walking lights me up. But it just, so peeling back the layers is not only my specialty, but my passion.
Love it. So, okay, going back to your first question, now I'm going to ask
Mhm.
the second question. So, what's holding you back from building the community?
Okay.
What's holding you back from achieving it and building that
So
container?
I'm currently working on it, and I discovered a really big limiting belief slash wound of mine a couple weeks ago. I asked myself that. It's so interesting that you met our energies collided because you must have like spearheaded this coming out of me because I think it was around the time that I met you. I asked myself, why, if I'm calling in community, why isn't it happening? I had a visibility wound and a really deep one. And I went through it and I'm like, okay, where did this visibility wound start? Like, if I'm calling in community, why am I not achieving it? And it started when I was young. So I grew up in a small town and I had to fit in. Okay, just like most people when they're 12 years old had to fit in. So I became a master chameleon at the jokes, like even like assimilating to what people thought was funny or show up and do and go to the parties and all of this stuff. I was so layered with everybody else's condition. And then I went to college and I didn't share my story. I had a pretty traumatic childhood. That's also why I became a social worker. And so I was so closed and scared to show and like crack open. I've had friends that have been like, I love you so much, you don't share about yourself. And that used to really bother me because I was like, oh, I share. No, I share the surface level, like digestible situation, or that, I felt like they could handle or that I was comfortable sharing. And so I started peeling back those layers and becoming more vulnerable and stuff like that. But it was still this like, okay, but the community is not coming in. Okay, I'm scared. I was afraid to be seen as truly my full authentic self. I'm a closet like astrology nerd and human design and spirituality. And I had that tucked in. And I would like nonchalantly be like, okay, well, when's your birthday? Okay, but do you know your moon and rising sign? Like, and so now I'm just like out there, right? but I was so afraid to be seen for
Mhm.
exactly who I was. You cannot live an authentic life if you're hiding any part about you. So when my people come to me, they're like, I want to grow my business. It's just not scaling the way. And I'm like, well, where are you hiding? Okay. And they're like,
I don't know.
okay.
What does that mean?
Yes, I was hiding parts of myself. You cannot build a community and be a leader of women in trailblazing and thought leader when you're hiding yourself. That doesn't mean I'm like share every detail with everybody. You know, details are privileged. But sharing in an authentic way, in a safe way. And so I'm doing the work. I always tell my clients, I'm doing the alert work right alongside you. I may have, my educational background kind of, boosted me up on being able to help people the way that I do. But I'm constantly doing the work on myself. It's a not a linear thing. It's all over the place. Sometimes I feel like I'm killing it, and sometimes I'm like, dang, that was a really big limiting belief hiding in plain sight. And so that was my community wound, was my big limiting belief hiding in plain sight.
Interesting. That's good introspective though, like
Thanks.
to recognize that. I think that's part sometimes that's the hardest part is we can pick
Mm-hmm.
apart other people and we can see other people's issues, but
Mm-hmm.
looking at ourselves and going, "Oh yeah, I do that too."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
um so I'm curious, like what does the community look like to you? Like in a perfect world,
Mm-hmm.
what do you envision it looking like?
Okay. So currently I host events and create, I call them circles. And people are like, well, what are the circles? Well, that's different all the time. Sometimes it's a full moon circle. Sometimes, like tonight, I'm hosting a breathwork circle, like a self-love thing with a girl that I am collaborating with. And but big picture, so I'm actually, yay, fun. I just announced it yesterday. I'm launching this container called Homecoming. And it's a 12-week container and it starts in March. And what you're going to get is 6 private sessions with me. Oh, the thumbs up. And
Mhm.
6 group calls, like group coaching. And so the reason why I'm starting with this container is because a lot of times in my one-on-one sessions, there's so much educational background. Like, I want to teach you why your brain shows up that way. I want to teach you how these patterns became. I want to teach you how these limiting beliefs came to fruition. But I'm not going to take up your hour at teaching you education, right? That's not why you come to me. And so in this container, you're going to get the hour of like, okay, let's figure out where these limiting beliefs are. Let's take you to where you want to go. Let's rewrite your subconscious. Let's pass these tests and triggers. Let's show up in actionable steps and meet your goals. And so the group coaching is going to be women who are all working on themselves and peeling back those layers. And so that's going to be my first like actual community safe space container. And so you're going to learn, like 20, 30 minutes of educational. Then we're going to do a somatic practice because you can't rewire your brain and change your habits if your nervous system isn't safe. And then we're going to do the group coaching. Okay, this came up for me this week. Okay, that came up to me. Oh, and then, oh, hey, I passed a boundary that was really hard. So we're going to cheerlead each other. And so in that container, it's going to be, you're going to have access to a platform that you're able to like type your wins or send a video or get feedback on something. So that's going to be the start of the community that I'm building. And so hopefully that gets bigger and bigger. And then you have, 50 women in there cheerleading each other or processing something. But we have all signed up for not only like committing to your growth, but you're committing to cheerlead others and help others thrive and say, oh, well, hey, I went through that this week. This is what worked for me. And I hope I'm going to be super involved. Like when you're in this container, you get, voice net access, text between calls. So it's not like rigid, like one-on-one in group. Like you're going to have like constant access because change doesn't happen overnight. But that's going to be my first container in the building of the community. And so that platform is opening, and I am taking applications because I have found that I've got to put my own boundaries in place. There are women that come, and that's amazing. Like I love to help anybody, but I really want to focus on the women who want to put the effort in, not just like show up and didn't do anything in between our session, but like really working. And so I think that the community piece also brings in accountability. You know, if you say you're going to do something, if I say I'm going to do something, and so
Hmm. You kind of
that's,
answered my next question. I was like,
oh,
can you have just open events? So if people aren't
yeah.
sure that, I don't know that this is my thing, am I ready for
Hmm.
this? Because as you were talking about that, it reminded me of a group that I started several years ago during COVID. We were on, it was a women's event, but it was nationwide because it was COVID. We were all online, and somebody put in the chat, does anybody want to start a study group?
Mm,
And in my industry, that's what we call it. It's literally advisors from all over the country. We now meet once a month, and it's, hey, I'm having this issue with a client. Has
mhm,
anybody experienced this? What's the solution?
mhm,
Um, and having that camaraderie.
mhm,
We're also not competing against one another because we're not in the
mhm,
same markets. Um, and also just justifying, no, this is fine. This growth is great.
mhm,
We just met this past week, and going over, how did we end last year? Did we make our goals? What were our goals? Um, and one of the young ladies in the group, the office was like, yeah, you're not doing enough.
mhm,
But then shared her metrics. It was like, holy cow, I wish I had those conversion rates.
mhm,
Like, that's
mhm,
fantastic.
mhm.
What are they, smoking?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So it was interesting as you were talking that I was literally
Mhm,
thinking about that group. But
mhm,
that's like for my industry.
mhm.
So some of the things that we talk about, other folks would be like, what the heck? What? Kind
Yeah.
of clueless.
Mhm,
So it'll be interesting to see how could you do this for folks in different industries at different stages in
mhm.
life. So is there a specific like age range that you want to work with because they all have similar issues, or
You don't have to have similar issues, and no specific age range. I do work with women. I'm very passionate about lifting up women. So with that particular woman, who you were just referring to, that she was told that she wasn't doing enough, if she was in front of me, and even if we were just going to dinner, not just like necessarily working with each other, I would ask her, where in her life has she been told that before by
oh, that's what her
caregivers?
employer told her.
No, exactly. But remember, we operate from our subconscious. And so I guarantee you that pattern of somebody telling her that she's not doing enough or good enough is looping on her. And so you're going to keep calling in those people that reinforce that loop.
Mm.
And so it doesn't, there's not a genre of stuff we're going through. It's literally just life. Like, if you're not scaling your business the way you want, if your relationships aren't the way you want, if you are in a job and want to pivot but don't really know how, if you want to, I mean, honestly, I work with anybody who's going through navigating life, even just need to regulate because of the climate of the world right now. And so there's no genre of healing. You don't have to have trauma. Healing is for everybody. And when I say healing, it's really just transforming, transforming. We're not, but growing and stepping into your power. We all give our power away, whether it's not good boundaries, whether it's pouring into others, whether it's so disconnected with yourself that you're doom scrolling or drinking or, you know, binging TV, you're numbing from something. And
Mhm.
so my goal is to regulate your body, feel safe in your body, figure out we all have limiting beliefs. Even if you grew up with the greatest parents, they still miss the mark on hitting your soul essence of a human. You were told something one time and then that belief sticks. Like, so I could give you several examples, but did I answer your question?
I don't even remember my question.
Okay. And so no, there's no okay. And so my container, the homecoming thing, it is going to be online. So you could be in Utah and be like, I resonate with her energy. I would be honored by that. And so I do there's you could do a hybrid of in real life versus all our group calls are going to be virtual. So you could have your private sessions virtually. Um, and or in Fort Worth, Texas, and come and see me and sit with me and laugh with me. Um, so it's all walks and stages of life, but I want you to identify as a woman.
Mhm. Um, have you seen an overarching theme as to why people come to you? Like they initially think that, okay, this is why I'm stuck.
Mhm.
Has that been at least common, or is it all over the place?
Um, Lately it's been about relationships, and I had to do some reflecting on that, Lisa. Because everybody's like niche down, niche down. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with human design, but I'm a manifesting generator, so I'm just like all over the place and I work really quickly. Um, and so niching was hard for me. And so I was just like, I'm not going to buy into that. But I realized I'm a relationship coach because most people come to me with relationships, but the tricky thing about me is I always bring it back to you. So really, I'm a relationship coach, but I really help you with your relationship to yourself because every single thing you could sit in front of me and talk about and have an issue with, it all comes back to you.
Mhm.
How are you showing up? What are you believing about this? Like, what are your habits? What are the actionable steps? You can't change anybody else. You can't change your work environment. You can't change your partner. You can't change anything. But once you start changing, your energy shifts, and either the people that are crossing the boundaries or that no longer resonate with you fall off, which is hard, but I'm
Mhm.
always like, yay, even though it doesn't feel good. Stretchy is not fun. And so I'm a relationship coach, but the twist is relationship with yourself, not I'm not going to help you with your relationship necessarily with your partner, but it works out that way because when you work on yourself, then everything else. Um, and then people come to me a lot for business. I've noticed lately but again, where are you hiding? It's all back to yourself. So I was working with a girl recently and she was like, I'm having, it was a friendship thing. But then I said, well, are you where you're at, where you want to be with your business? And she was like, no, and so like it's multifaceted, but it all comes back to you. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Um, oh shoot, I thought of something as you were talking about that. Um, I saw a clip of Cody Sanchez, who's a person I follow online. She's a YouTuber who's exploded, just came out with her first book. And she had a little video that said online dating has like ruined dating. How we go about that, it's all about the internal. Show up as like your best
hmm
self, and you'll be in
hmm
the, be giving off the right energy. You're not the
hmm
broken self because of
hmm
previous relationships, or job isn't where you want it to be, or you're not in the city that you thought you were going to be in, or just the general
hmm
situation you thought you were going to be in. And I have one other friend who, like, we're literally the only single people in our circles.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the woes, we're in the thick of it together. So that was funny that
Mm-hmm.
the relationship stuff is, yeah, just work on yourself and it'll
Mm-hmm.
happen when it happens. And you're
Mm-hmm.
in the right room,
Mm-hmm. So another
the
skill set
right
of
people.
mine is tests. And so when you're, sometimes when you're looking for a relationship, there's going to be a lot of tests that come through. And it's going to be like that unavailable person, and then I'm usually like, well, ask about like your parents or whatever. And like, yeah, dad worked a lot. Or, yeah, he was a great dad, but he was never home. And I'm like, hmm.
So that's why you're
Huh.
attracted to that. Huh.
Yeah. And because our subconscious is attracted to what's safe, even if it's
Mhm.
not good for us. And so it's all about peeling back the layers and connecting those dots because often people think it's like the butterflies and the traction and the wild, whatever, but it's really who is your nervous system comfortable around. Sometimes that feels really boring if you're used to like the chaos or the chase or the
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah.
Yeah, toxic is not good long term.
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't even know if it's
No,
fun at this point.
I
I'm too
no,
old for
I
that.
exactly.
Ah.
It was fun when you're 17 or however, but yeah, it's not fun anymore. And so my goal is to just highlight the patterns. Sometimes it's not fun, but it's always necessary.
Mm-hmm. So I want to kind of go backwards. Why why start your company? What was it that you were like, I need to do this?
Well, it's been years in the making. So I worked a stable label job for 16 years. And I was helping people throughout that. If I would have people come and sit in my office and we would do full-blown sessions, and that's not why I was at that establishment. And I am usually the friend that people call and be like, oh my God, I'm going through this, or I need you to come to dinner with me, like, you know, or when we go to dinner, it's a full sesh. So I got my clinical license because I'm a high achiever, and so I just thought that was the next step. But then I realized like therapy's not my jam, not because I can't do it, but you can't hang out with your clients afterward. Like I would never, like breach those ethics. So
Yeah.
building a community is not in the cards if I stay in this lane. And the thing about authenticity is your lane and your path will not make sense to other people. And so when I was going through my friends would be like, or even my peers would be like, but I don't understand. Like you can do X, Y, and Z with your licensure. Like I don't understand. And be like, I know it doesn't make sense. And so I started my own thing because not only is there what I specifically want to do in my skill set, I haven't found someone to like do it with or under. And I have a whole vision of where I'd like to go. I'm realistic with my step process, so like I'm not anywhere near where I want to be, but I'm a constant bar raiser too, and so I have to check that. Like I have to check myself on that, and practice gratitude and like love where I'm at. But that's why I started my own thing is because I know the space that I'm able to hold with people. I know the change that I can make. I know the power in my work and I believe in it fully. And so I quit my full-time job in August. And so I have not been doing this full-time on my own for long, but I've been doing the work for a lot of years. Um, and so that's why I stepped out on my own, is because I know exactly what works. I've gotten my formula down to a T. I make rapid change with people. It's up to them to continue it. That's why I started the longer container. And I'm so excited about that. I'm calling in the women that want to do the work in this container. just for a little plug, it's the cheapest it's ever going to be because this is going to be my founding group members. And so you're going to always be a founding member. So you're going to have perks that go along with that, but it's like super affordable because I always like to be realistic. And I understand the economy right now. And I want to grow with these people. I want like I want feedback. Like, hey, Ash,
Mm-hmm.
this I want you to do this better or this you know what I mean? Like help me work out the kinks. And so you're getting a founder rate for that. The work's going to be incredible. I'm just like the process. Um I really value feedback. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not one that's like thinks that I've got it all figured out and you can just leave if you don't like it. I'm like, no, tell me. Tell me my tone of voice sucked or that, my breathwork circle just didn't hit. Like I need to know that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's not the, style that that person needs. That's not the exercise that they need
Yeah,
to go
exactly.
through, whatever it is that they're working through.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's different styles
Mm-hmm.
of things. It's like different styles of workouts. Yeah.
Yes,
The,
exactly.
the crazy spin class is not for everybody.
Yeah.
But,
I-
retired dancers, that's the
That's your
Delulu that
jam.
we enjoy.
I really wish I loved spin. I'm gonna give it another chance, but
Oh,
I don't love it.
oh, it's if it's done by a good instructor, and this is my issue. We're getting into some of my issues at the gym. Um, because of my dance background, and no shame to it could be a fantastic workout, but if it's not matching the music, if you're not musical with
Yep.
the workout, it drives me bonkers.
That is so funny you say that. That's a huge part of my circles is the music. And I think that's a huge pillar in showing up is the music. It,
Hmm.
you know. So I agree
So
with you.
when there's, and it's like I could go into an instructor. There's an instructor. She's great at her skill set,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not a good teacher. And my
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
those who can't teach, yeah, well, she can. So go compete. Go be a
Mm-hmm.
competitive dancer. You can actually go do that. But I think spin in particular, because it's such a crazy cardio class, if the music is not good, if
Mm-hmm.
the hype of the instructor and how they incorporate the steps to the music, if that's off, then yeah, it's going to be a crappy class and you're not going to be motivated
Mm-hmm.
to sprint during the chorus for this song
Mm-hmm.
because the song sucks. Like,
Yeah, I'm always like putting down. I mean, I say always, it's been a while since I've done it, but I'll like put down the resistance. They're like, you're only hurting yourself. I'm like, I know, but
I'm trying.
I
Yeah, but I
know.
think that's and just being, having a dance background, that's one of the elements that I need.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it just
And
but
with
that
my
goes in the same
trauma,
thing to what you were talking about. It's
yeah,
finding the right exercises that
yeah,
jive with
yeah.
who you are as a person, where you're,
Hmm.
coming from at that point. This exercise might feel stupid in the moment. You might
Yes.
enjoy it later because you finally get it.
Hmm.
Yeah, we did weird stuff from a theater degree. We did weird breathing things.
Oh, I
I was
bet.
telling this to somebody else the other day. Um, I think actors are so weird because we're so in tune with the quirks of the body. Like we
Mm.
would do breathing exercises to trigger ourselves to cry.
Oh,
But you
shoot.
have to do that in a scene.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
when you're crying, like when you're authentically crying, it's like, oh wait, how am I breathing? Like we're coming out of our own bodies and analyzing what is our body doing.
I love
So
that.
breath work to somebody who's never done something that's
Hmm.
abstract feels super awkward.
Right.
Like, my mind's eye. What the heck are you talking about? My
Yeah.
eye.
I know. I have to be careful at how I because not everybody speaks my language, you know? And so that's another thing about transitioning from clinical to coaching is that I can say like, oh yeah, well it is a full moon, you know, or like, yeah, Mercury is like whether they get it or not, you know, my
Yeah,
people just
Mercury's
like
in the microwave. Uh-huh.
yeah. And you know, I usually explain it, but I'm able to just like bring that kind of stuff out because we're multifaceted beings. We have
Mhm.
energy coming at us from places we don't even realize. And so a lot of times I'm not saying the astrology stuff to teach you. I'm just like you and the collective, right? Like that's back to my you're not alone in this. And so yeah, back to the breath work and stuff. I and it's not going to be all, you know, my container's not all breath work by any means, but regulating the nervous system, people do not realize how dysregulated they are. They're like, weird, I have this, and this issue. And I'm like, that's dis-ease. You are disconnected from yourself. Where are you giving your power away?
Mhm.
The more you're connected, and regulated, the less dis-ease you are going to have. I'm not saying that I'm a doctor by any means. There are other things that are usually also, you know, tied into that, but connecting with your body and yourself is just like numero uno.
Mhm. Mhm. And we teach kids that through like temper tantrums.
Hmm.
Breathe. And like they get so
Yes.
frustrated that they stop breathing. And that's what I was talking about earlier with like self-talk. You can do it. They fall down. You're fine. You're
Yes.
okay. We're not going to react to this. We forget that as adults
Hmm.
when something happens, like the
Hmm.
phone breaks, the
A
something spills,
setback.
or we get
Hmm.
an email and it's like, well, that's not the email I was expecting.
Yeah.
And we have the initial like "Boo!"
Yes.
bad response. It's like, no, breathe
But you
through
know
it.
what, Lisa? People
You're
don't
fine.
realize how much they talk crap about them to themselves.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so a lot of my rewiring is noticing that you're doing it. It took
Mhm.
me an embarrassing long time to realize how much crap I was talking about myself. And then remembering like 96% of our thoughts are not real. They're all fear-mongering monkeys on our shoulder. And so just being like, nope, I am not engaging in that. That is old programming. I am not doing that. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I am successful. Yes, I am, you know, in whatever your affirmations are. And so a big part of that container is going to be being so freaking on the spot with these thoughts that are coming out because that's the rewiring. It's not being perfect and be like, I'm awesome, because that's toxic positivity, right? It's the remembering. Oh yeah. The constant coming back is the brain rewiring. Oh yeah, I can do it. Oh yeah, I am good at this. Oh yeah. Okay. And so I
Yeah.
nerd out on
No,
this stuff all the
self-talk.
time.
No, I mean, it's literally, we teach it to kids. You will be fine. You're great. You will be,
Hmm.
and then we forget all of that as adults.
Yes, we do.
So
And
it's
so my
funny.
job is to help you remember. That is my num if I don't do anything else in this world, I want to teach thousands or millions of women to come back to themselves. That's all I'm
Hmm.
doing. I'm not healing you. I'm helping you remember how freaking powerful you are.
Yeah. That's why they think that they can be an astronaut or
Hmm.
whatever, because
Yeah.
there's no
Programming yet.
exterior thing saying, no, you can't do that because X, Y, and
Hmm.
Z. Well, why not?
Hmm. I tell my own kids, I have a seventh grader, and we were driving to school recently, and I was like, he was talking about college or something, and I said, listen, the biggest lie we tell kids is that they need to have it figured out by 18. I said, it is okay if you graduate and you have no idea what you're going to do. Like, we will get you through that because you have to listen to hear, not what everybody's telling you that you should be doing. Because I have seen so many people get in careers because their parents wanted them to get in a career.
Hmm.
You're an attorney. Why? Oh, well, my mom really kind of forced me into it. I'm like, oh, how's that working out? Like, if you're not living your soul's purpose, you're going to feel out of a line, even if you look, it looks good on paper, period.
Hmm. Yeah, it would have been interesting to see. Okay, had I done an aptitude test at 18, would the response have been the same as Lisa at uh oh gosh, 26, 27, something like that. Much later in life when I was like, okay, now what do I do with myself?
Yeah.
Now what
Now
do I want
what?
to be when I grow up?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm still asking myself that.
yeah, we question some things.
Hmm.
Um, so best advice that you have received that was like a oh man, game changer for you.
Um, Gosh, that's hard. I have really good mentors right now. It's really honor yourself, even if it's a hard conversation, if the world is expecting you to do one thing, if it doesn't make sense to anybody else, getting clear and honoring yourself. How do you do that? You have to have a regulated nervous system. Using the tools and practices every day to ground myself, I have to ground myself a lot. And so, um, when I started honoring myself and untucking and unhiding, to be loved, to fit in, to honor the status quo, even within my family, my immediate family, my life started completely changing.
Awesome. In
And
a good
so,
way initially, or
no, I mean, shoot, that's bumpy. When you start putting boundaries up with people who have perpetually crossed them or started being like, you know what, that doesn't sit with me anymore. Like that's not my belief anymore. Um, it rubs people the wrong way, and you have to be okay with that. And
Mhm.
so the way you get okay with that is being grounded and regulated. And so courage isn't, you know, not being afraid, it's doing it bravely, right? We hear that all the time. And so when you honor yourself, there's courageousness there's bravery. Like it's a courageous act to honor yourself. I think there's a quote, something like to be yourself in a world that wants you to be like everybody else is the greatest accomplishment. So that is always on, I'm like on loop. I am still people, in my life are falling off because I'm no longer responding or people pleasing or doing things because that's how I've always done them. And so I always say, and I think I even said at the beginning of this conversation, was I'm still doing the work alongside my people. And so I think that's the coolest part is I'm going to tell you how it is or be honest with you about what I'm going through. That's another reason why I don't do therapy.
Can't do that.
You can't do that, and so yeah, be yourself. And I know that sounds like this 20, just for a little astrology plug, 2025 is the year of shedding. Okay. But it's also the huge year for transformation. So, like big manifestations, like whatever you're calling in is going to come in huge, but you need to shed first. And what does that shedding mean? Stepping into your authenticity. Your big things, your big dreams, your big ideas cannot come in if you are not living authentically. And so if you don't shed them, the universe is going to shed them. And those are the rock bottoms. I know it's scary, but it's such a good thing. And so when you start coming into yourself and you're noticing that the world around you is kind of like your friends are falling off or your job's not aligned anymore, or all of this stuff, it's such a good thing. So ground, 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 shed, shed, shed. I promise you, it's going to be your biggest year of abundance doing
Uh,
so.
that aligns with so I have my households do goals a little differently than your typical financial advisor does.
Awesome. That's probably why
Because
you're a trailblazer.
Um, and that aligns with several of the things that we're doing this year in all of their lives. And I get so much joy out of them achieving their goals. It's amazing. I had
Mm-hmm.
one household, I was like, be careful what you write down because I've seen it happen. Like it's be careful what
Yeah.
you ask for.
Yes.
Um, I want to go back. You said you have many mentors. How did you find your mentor? And then how often do you meet with them? Like what does that relationship look like?
Um, so I'm a big like, don't see a therapist who doesn't have one, don't see a coach who doesn't have one because growth, like, if I'm not growing, how am I going to help you grow, right? And so I found my two mentors. Um, I met one in person I think last June, and started working with her. And then I'm going all in this year. And so she has a partner, and we, I actually met with her on Monday, my last coach on Monday. And then, so I see them every now and then. I get on calls. Um, almost daily these days, just because like I'm a big learning nurture while you're waiting. I'm not gonna just sit around and be like, okay, who's coming? I'm gonna keep learning and growing and doing. And so I get on calls at least three times a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, but like on average. And so I'm constantly meeting with my people.
Awesome. For
Yeah.
how long? Like a quick 15-minute check-in
No,
or
like an hour.
wow.
Yeah, I
And they
know.
give you that much time on their schedule.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
So how did you meet them? Like are they in the same industry or completely
Um,
different?
So one of them is Ava, and I did Academy of Breath with her, and that's how I became a breathworks facilitator. And I am going forward this year for the advanced practitioner training. And so because when I learn something, I go all in.
Couldn't tell
Um,
that at all.
Shocking, huh? And um, and so when I work with Ava this year, it's going to be a lot more intimate, but those are the group calls. And then Lexi, yeah, I get hour one-on-one, and I met her through Ava, and she's helped me like, I don't, just like getting my thoughts together, and like, I'll say, hey, I have this idea for a circle. And she's a big so when you were talking about playlists, she's the one that's like, playlist, that's huge, you got to hit. So I'll send her my playlist, and then we'll go over the stuff with her. And so they're wonderful, and I just feel so supported. And again, I think it's really important to work with people who work with people.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's something females in general don't ask for help.
Yeah.
And I see it like the established trailblazers, as we can call them, are always looking for people to mentor
Hmm.
um and just be ears at some point.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um and there is a gap of no, I can make time from the people, the mentees. They want the growth. They see there's probably a need for it, but making that connection, um, maybe it's, oh, they don't have time for me. So this was also my own filter.
Mm.
They don't have time for me. They're so busy. Well, if they want to, they will.
Hmm.
They will carve out time if it's important to them in their
Hmm.
crazy busy schedule. They will figure it
Hmm.
out. And then same thing on the flip side. Quit, for the mentee, quit making excuses and just do it.
Amen. All I across the board, guys, we have got to quit making excuses and just do it. We have to go for it. And I know I just mentioned like the energy of 2025, but this is not the energy to sit there and wait and not do it.
Mhm.
But again, Lisa, with your wound of, oh, they're not going to have time with me, I would look into that. Like, is it
Mhm.
my needs don't matter? Like, there's something there. And especially with the growth and the changes that you are wanting to do, um, I would really get a hold of that limiting belief because you're onto
Oh,
some big
absolutely. Yeah.
things. Yeah. And I would hate for that to like to keep you down.
Yeah. Well, it's just ask. We never know. They might actually say yes.
So I threw my name in the hat for something really wild. I'm not going to say what it is the other day. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I kind of channel and then I'll go all over the place. So I'm going to stick to it, Ashley. So I threw my name in the hat for something pretty huge the other day, and it was crickets. And then I was like, shit, should I have done that? And then I'm like, yeah, if it's, if you don't ask, it's a hell no.
Yeah.
And then they responded and they're like, "Oh, I would love to get in front of you and see about that. I haven't like perfected my I like agenda or whatever. Like, let's pick a time to get in front of each other." Like that doesn't mean yes and it's going to happen, but the fact that I threw my name in the hat, was okay with not getting a that's okay with not getting a response because if you don't ask, it's a hell no, you
Yeah.
know? So we've
Yeah.
got
And I
to,
think men, there is no disbelief. They're just like, yeah, no, I can. And they're gonna give me the promotion. They're gonna give me the job.
uh-huh.
There's no exterior or interior self-talk that's negative. They're just automatic, I'm the badass. I'm gonna like they're gonna say
Mm-hmm.
yes to me. I think
Mm-hmm.
females, we need to get out of our own way and just do it.
Yeah. And I don't actually want to operate with like I completely want to change the narrative around that.
Mhm.
Um in a lot of ways
Well,
that
I'm right there
women,
with you. We'll help
let's do
as
it.
many people as
Yes.
possible.
We deserve it collectively, all of us. I don't care what your industry is or what your goals are. We all deserve to completely step in our power and believe that we are capable of it.
That's actually why one of the many reasons why I'm doing this podcast is so that other young females or young folks in general here, we all have the same issues. We're not
Hmm.
alone.
No, we are not,
There are
girl.
solutions out there. There are people to mentor us. We just have to ask.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. So if
Okay,
anybody needs
so
a mentor, call me.
yeah. Okay, last little commercial for yourself.
Okay.
You've got your new program starting in March. Is there any
Homecoming.
other fun project you're working on this year that you want to plug?
Yeah. Um, Homecoming is going to be my biggest baby soon. It's from March. Our group calls are going to be March 25th, every 2 weeks to June 3rd. And so you're going to have your private sessions, like one, in between the group calls. So you have 2 weeks to get a session in, which is great. Um, I have a self-love circle tonight. So this isn't gonna,
It'll be too
matter.
late for that,
It'll be
but
too
you'll
late.
have future ones.
I have ongoing circles at Urban Yoga on 8th Avenue. Urban Yoga is such a vibe, beautiful people, community. And so I do nervous system regulation. I do a little like pep talk, whatever I feel like collectively is happening. So, like, connect with your intuition or connect to yourself or set the boundaries. And then, kind of like hot seat coaching afterwards, be like, what came up for you? And then, kind of identify stuff, just kind of how we've been chatting today. I have a vision board. Collaboration event that's at the end of February, but it's going to happen all year long. So it's going to be, again, breath work, meditation, a cacao ceremony, and then some art. So we're creating these journals. So we're going to get together monthly. Um, and we're going to kind of vision board map your month out because I think it's goals are beautiful, but life happens, right? And
Yeah.
so it's really good to figure out like what's my word or what am I wanting to do or what energy am I bringing into this month? And then we're going to meet quarterly. And so you can find that. So I'm about to go hard posting that on my Instagram, which is Squeeze of Life. And then I have a really fun little Galentine's virtual happening on the 12th. It's really cool. It's when I met Ava in June, I was at Brittany Carmichael's Summer Solstice. Highly recommend. So I met these little soul sisters, and so we are doing our first collaboration, and so it's going to be like a full moon thing, and so I'm really excited about that. But I will post more events on my Instagram page. And thank you for
Awesome.
asking.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. No, this has been great. We could probably chat all day long,
I
but
I
we
would.
don't have time for that.
I know. But so I would
Awesome.
love to catch up with you again. And I just really thank you for taking a chance on me and reaching out and just seeing me and wanting to have a conversation with me.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us and hope you all tune in for our next episode.
Yay. Thank you, Lisa. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.